Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you the difference between the flat versus the topspin forehand techniques in tennis. So in today's game it's extremely rare to see a forehand that is completely flat. Pretty much all forehands that you see on TV, the top players hitting, even if they look extremely flat and low over the net and look like they've got no topspin on, those balls still do have a little bit of topspin on the shot, because players nowadays are almost all using an Eastern grip, semi-Western grip or a Western grip, and these three grips allow for topspin production as well as hitting through the ball. However, back in the day when players mostly only used to use the continental grip on their forehand, you would see a lot more completely flat forehands being hit. This continental grip is nearly extinct on that forehand side, but nowadays players will be using these grips that are more inclined to topspin production because of the evolution of the game, the speed of the game, and just how we're all playing nowadays. So the difference between hitting a flat forehand and a topspin forehand not only happens with the swing path, but also happens right at the moment of contact. And it has a lot to do with the wrist and the forehand movements that occur just before and at the contact point. And this really does come down to the grip that you're using. I'm going to try and show you guys a completely flat forehand. So obviously I'm going to be using my continental grip here, and you're going to see that as I strike forward through the ball, that my swing path is very horizontal through the ball, and the tip of my racket will be leading into the follow through. As you can see, those shots were very low over the net and they had little to no topspin on. So with that continental grip, if I wanted to produce some topspin onto the ball, then I would essentially have to kind of flick my wrist a little bit more and kind of roll with my forearm over the ball, like this. So the reason that I have to kind of flick my wrist and roll my forearm is because with the chopper grip, my hand, as you can see, is more on the top of the racket here. And therefore I have to use my arm and wrist to get that vertical kind of motion with my racket to produce the topspin. Whereas with the Eastern, semi-Western or Western grips, your hand is more underneath the racket here. So it's so much easier and more natural to get that vertical motion with your racket on these types of grips. So compared to the flat forehand, the topspin forehand has more of a vertical swing path. Now you might have heard me and you might have heard other coaches talk about the high to low to high swing path. And nowadays this is kind of the universal swing path for the forehand, because the high to low high swing does really help to produce topspin onto that forehand side. And so on the professional tours, both on the ATP and the WTA tour, you'll see that most players are swinging with this high to low to high swing path to produce that topspin. And now, you know, some players are known for hitting more heavy topspin compared to some players that are known for hitting more of a flat ball. But either way, both of these types of shots still have topspin on the ball in today's game. And specifically, men on the ATP tour and male players in general are known for hitting more of a heavy topspin. And a heavy topspin means that you're producing really high revolutions on the ball, and that means you're getting a lot of power and you're getting most of your speed and your pace from that really heavy topspin ball. Compared to women on the WTA tour and women tennis players in general are known for hitting more of a flatter topspin forehand. And now this means that they're still getting that vertical swing path, but with less revolutions on the ball compared to the heavy topspin that the men hit. And so while their swing path is vertical, there is still some element to hitting that ball a little bit through the ball more and a little bit more horizontally compared to the men who do really rip up the back of the ball most of the time. So with the heavy topspin forehand, the tip of your racket as you hit the ball stays more on the outside of the ball as you come through the shot. So it's more of a kind of windshield wiper motion like this. The strings of my racket are staying pointing to the opponent, and I'm almost kind of waving at my opponent as I follow through. So as you can see with those heavier topspin forehands, the height over the net is a lot higher, and you can see that the balls are landing quite deep and bouncing high to my opponent. So these balls are really tough for an opponent to deal with, as they push your opponent back and they force your opponent to kind of hit that ball in a strike zone that they're not as comfortable with. So essentially that swing path is more vertical and less through the ball, compared to the flatter topspin forehand, where obviously the swing path is still vertical, but the racket is still moving forward and through the ball, more so than with the heavier topspin forehand. So with this type of swing path, you're going to see the tip of my racket coming forward through the ball like this, compared to the heavy topspin where it was more of a windshield wiper. Now I'm going to come and swing up, and the tip of my racket is coming more forward. So you can see less string than with the heavy topspin. The flatter topspin forehand will allow me to hit a kind of lower ball over the net, maybe a quicker ball through the court, so with more pace, so that my opponent might face a quicker ball that skids through the court more and is tougher to deal with in terms of timing. However, the ball will lack that bounce and that kick that you can see with the heavy topspin ball. So as you can see with those shots, that the tip of my racket was coming through the ball more like this, and that meant my shot was lower over the net. It looked as though the shots had more speed on them compared to the heavy topspin ball, and you might wonder why women in general play more of that flatter topspin forehand compared to the men. And generally speaking, it's easier to generate speed and pace from this flat topspin forehand compared to the heavy topspin forehand. For weaker players with less strength, then this type of swing path is a really efficient way to generate pace and also keep that topspin on the ball with control. So that's why most of the women on the tour will be using this type of forehand. So overall, topspin does produce less power than hitting the ball completely flat. However, in today's game and in general, you do need to hit the ball with at least some topspin in order to hit a controlled forehand, and in order to allow you to feel as though you can swing freely through the ball without fear of it hitting the back fence completely. So guys, I hope you found this video useful, and if you did, then please give this video a like and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. And guys, I'll see you in my next video.